Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am here today with this video to bring you a little bit of an update on my own personal inner child healing. So I posted an inner child video a few months ago, I believe in February of this year. And that was a video where I really dove into what exactly the inner child is, how you can begin to work to heal the inner child, and then I shared some of my own experience with the inner child healing. So as I'm looking at myself, I know this maybe isn't the best lighting, but this is just going to be kind of a casual video. I'm using this as what I'm going to maybe call like a video diary. So this is not only a way for me to document, I guess, in some way, my own journey with all of this. It's also a way for me to show you guys what actually is possible when you put in this work and this inner love. I'm trying to reframe my language a little bit from doing the work and inner work to something that's a little bit more just something that feels a little bit lighter. So you may see that kind of shift over the next little bit. Me changing it to calling it like inner love, for example. But yeah, what's possible when you are actually putting this work in a conscious way. So I think the last in my inner child video from a few months ago, I believe that that was when I had really actually first started really diving into inner child healing. For a long time, I avoided I avoided inner child work just because I don't know. I maybe just subconsciously wasn't ready, or I was scared. I was a lot of different things, a lot of different reasons why. And just over the last, well, really in the last month, I would say. So it's April 23rd right now. So yeah, I would say within the last month to 6 weeks, maybe, I've had a lot of shifts and changes in terms of my own personal inner child healing. So I'm going to share that with you guys. Um, so I believe it's raining, so I have to close the window. So I believe the last inner child video that I did, because that was when I was first starting, I had done a meditation, and one of the things that came up, I remember that meditation because it was very, sorry, I gotta get resituated now. Because it was very emotional. And this was, again, when I had first kind of really started consciously and intentionally diving into this work. So I remember doing that meditation, and one of the things, or one of the main things that came up and that continues to come up anytime I'm doing an inner child meditation, is how absolutely alone my child self felt. So in the past 2 weeks, I would say, I have subscribed to the Pathway. So this is the manifestation work of Lacy Phillips. And so you subscribe to the Pathway and you have access to all of these different little kind of courses and ways to heal your inner child, your shadow, heal your money, heal your love, all of these different things. And so I started with inner child. Well, this has brought up a lot, okay? So even stretching back before I joined the Pathway, I was meditating one day, and I didn't have a specific intention with my meditation. I was doing for myself my Beyond Words healing work. And what came into my mind was a vision of my mom and her watching me do this work. Excuse me. And she was looking at me and she was saying, "I don't understand." And in this vision, I just looked back at her and I just kind of smiled and I said, "It's okay. I don't need you to understand." And when I came out of that, that was such an unbelievably huge shift for me, even though it may not seem like much. that was a quantum shift. And that was my higher self's way of letting me know you don't need your parents to understand what you're doing. You don't need them to accept what you're doing. You don't need them to approve of what you're doing. You can just be, you can just do your thing and not need their validation. So that's something where I've been stuck for all my life, really, is wanting my parents' validation. And wanting them to be excited and encouraging. And, through this work, I've realized and uncovered that I have never really felt like I received that type of support from them. So to now come out of that meditation and to be in that space of, okay, I don't need them to understand. I can do my thing. I can grow and expand and heal, and I don't need them to validate me or validate my experience or my life or my existence. So that was a really big one. The next big shift came shortly after that meditation as well. And it was this: I am not here to keep my parents comfortable. Okay, now this can apply to anyone, and it doesn't have to only apply to parents. So I'm not here to keep anyone comfortable, really. But for me, with the inner child work that I've been doing, this is how it has kind of manifested out for me. So, from that, what came is the realization that if I am living my life in order to keep my parents comfortable with who I am or what I'm doing, I will never, ever, ever live a life that I am truly happy with, and I will never have an authentic life that I actually enjoy living. Okay? So that was a big part of my healing as well. And that was probably, I'd say that was maybe a month ago that I had that download. I'm not here to keep my parents comfortable. Then I joined the pathway and I started diving into that inner child healing. And last week, it kind of came to a head. I had done within the inner child module, there's different, she calls them deep imaginings. They're essentially like a guided meditation or a hypnosis where you go in and you're imagining your most magnetic parents. So these are the parents who emotionally support you, protect you, you trust. They're there, they're nurturing you. It's work on such an energetic level. And so I had gone through a few of these deep imaginings and I had no trouble envisioning and energetically feeling my magnetic parents. When I'm putting myself into my child self or going back in time to when I was a child, we work through different ages. And I can bring them to mind. I have no trouble with that. But where I was getting stuck or where I was getting frustrated and honestly a little bit angry was that, yes, I can bring them to mind, but I'm pissed off because I know that those aren't the parents that I had and have. So it really, really got to the point where, I was doing these and then I said, okay, I'm really struggling with these. This is bringing up all of these emotions, and I know that that's a big part of that is my shadow self and subconscious that needs to be worked through and actually looked at and healed. But I had said, okay, I'm just going to let all this kind of integrate. I'm going to move on to something else within the program, and then I'll come back just when I energetically feel ready or feel kind of aligned with that again. And then, kind of as soon as I had set that intention, that same day or the day after, it clicked for me that I was really having to be in a space of allowing myself to grieve on behalf of my inner child and grieving on behalf of my adult self as well for the things that I didn't receive when I was a child. So I don't even remember if I talked about this in my first inner child video. It's really taken me a lot of work and a little bit of time to be able to be comfortable enough to actually really talk about this and open up about this, because I know that chances are one or both of my parents might actually see this. People I know, people who know my parents, know my family will probably see this. And so I think it's really important to take a pause right here, right now, and say again, I think I said this in my other video as well, that when you're doing inner child work, it's not to blame your parents, okay, or to fault them or to fault yourself. You are doing this work from a space of compassion and understanding that my parents had their own conditioning, their own beliefs, their own habits, their own limitations that they instilled into me, I guess. So I'm not going to dive in again to how inner child works and what inner child is, but it's just important to keep that in mind, that I'm not sitting here today speaking about this so that I can put blame on my parents. It is from compassion, and it is from love for myself and a desire to heal and to grow and to really heal these wounds and get to a place of inner love that I'm speaking about this. Okay, so now that I've said that, and I don't know how much about this I talked about in the other video, but I did not receive affection or words of love from my father. And now that I've dove into this work a little bit more and gone into those deep imaginings and gone into those meditations, when I'm putting myself back in time into my child self, I felt very vulnerable, very left open or unprotected to some sort of threat. And this, it's not a threat of abuse or anything like that. It's just the energy that has come up for me, is that there's this energy of feeling threatened, like an outside threat of some sort. I did not feel energetically nurtured. I did not feel supported. I did not feel encouraged. I did not feel like I could be myself. I did not feel like I could express myself. So this is a lot of stuff to work through. Last week I experienced and I came to the realization of, okay, I need to spend some time really grieving this and allowing this to process before I really dive back in. And so that's what I've been doing. I haven't dove back in yet. Today's Thursday, April 23rd. I'd say it was about a week ago. I don't remember what day exactly, maybe even about a week and a half ago, where I kind of said, okay, I need this to process and to integrate. I need to deal with these emotions that are coming up surrounding all of this. And so I've let it kind of sit and marinate for a bit. And I did work through that grief. And what a huge difference it makes to even just shine the light on things like this. Because until you actually are aware of those patterns, and until you're aware of those wounds, and until you really dive in and feel how you felt when you were a child, even if you don't consciously remember feeling that way. And a lot of this, you are diving into the subconscious. You're diving into those wounds that were created before you cognitively understood what was going on around you. You are like a sponge when you're a child, okay? You're absorbing everything, you're picking everything up, and you're latching onto certain things and you're internalizing that. Okay, and then that's where you run into issues as an adult, is because none of that has been healed, and it's all grown into these habits and patterns and conditioning and all of these things that are really keeping you stuck and holding you back from actually moving forward in your life and creating that long-lasting change. All right, so that's it. I just wanted to give an update and kind of, I don't know. I know that some of you enjoy following my journey. Some of you may be like, why the hell is she talking about this? That's perfectly fine. You can disregard this. In no way do you have to feel obligated or forced to watch any of my content. Like I said, a lot of this is just my own way of talking through things, and almost like a video diary of my own journey and the things that I'm experiencing and the things that I'm working through. So I'm going to leave it at that. As usual, if you have any questions, you can let me know. If you're wanting to dive more into this work, if you're seeing this video, I'm in the midst of creating it right now, but hopefully in the next few days I'll have it finished. I'm creating an online kind of course of how to do the work, the inner love, the self healing, and all of that. So you'll be able to purchase that and start learning how to really dive into things like this for yourself as well. So, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Take care and have a good day.